About to get underway, Uruguay against France, the second game of this World Cup. And you know, the scoreline from earlier on, it gives a real incentive to both France and Uruguay, because if there's a winner tonight, they will go to the top of Group A. Just looking down, Jan, along the faces of the players, and sometimes you can tell something during the anthem. Dominic said yesterday his squad is not calm, they are restless, they are aggressive. What do you make of their body language early on?
Well, actually, I do. It does seem that they're together. During the warm-up, they spent an awful lot of time doing their stretching in little huddles. They had a little chat between themselves before they went in. Now they're out again. You know, they put their arms around each other for the national anthem. So they do look like they're together. But we'll soon find out.
Well, the Uruguay coach, Tabarez, has made 2 changes from the side that beat Israel in their final warm-up game. He's brought in Mauricio Victorino into defence, and also Arevalo Rios comes into midfield. So the team in full: Muslera, the Lazio goalkeeper, 3 defenders: Victorino, who plays his club football in Chile, Lugano, who plays with Fenerbahce, is the captain, and Godin, who's a Villarreal defender. They're the 3 central defenders. 2 players with the surname of Pereira. Maxi Pereira on the right hand side, he's a Benfica player. Alvaro Pereira also plays in Portugal with Porto, he's wide on the left. In the centre, Diego Perez, who looks like Nemanja Vidic. They call him El Russo, the Russian, alongside Arevalo Rios. And then the 2 up front, 80 goals between them this season for their clubs: Diego Forlan of Atletico Madrid and Luis Suarez, the Ajax striker. The French side, well, the big alteration to what all the French media were predicting is that Abou Diaby starts in midfield in favour of Meluda, Gourcuff and Toulalan, the players alongside him. The back 4 is Arsenal's Sagna and Gallas, with Abidal of Barcelona and Evra, of course, of Manchester United, the captain. Hugo Lloris is the goalkeeper. Sidney Govou, the Lyon captain, wide right. Frank Ribery of Bayern Munich, wide left. And Nicolas Anelka of Chelsea is up front. And it's his first taste of a World Cup for Nicolas Anelka, aged 31. Seems part of the football furniture, but this, tonight, the first time he gets to play on the biggest stage of all.
And he's certainly done it all, hasn't he? You know, at club level he's done it all, and this is a big stage for him. But he doesn't come into this tournament in particularly good form. He's had a couple of low-key performances in friendlies just before the World Cup, but we know what he's capable of.
We're about to start. Uruguay and France have been involved in World Cups right from the beginning. Uruguay, the first ever world champions. A Frenchman scored the first ever World Cup goal. So we're in esteemed company on this opening evening in South Africa. And I think the atmosphere, they've spoken about whether the stadiums would be full. I'm looking around, very, very few empty seats inside this Greenpoint Stadium tonight. The last time France and Uruguay met at a World Cup was in 2002. It finished in a draw that night as France, as the reigning World Cup holders, crashed out of the group. The whistle from the Japanese referee. We are underway. France playing from right to left, wearing all white tonight. Uruguay in their traditional strip, sky blue jerseys, dark shorts and dark socks. Uruguay will play from left to right as we look down, and an early offside decision free kick is for the South Americans, and their young goalkeeper will come a few paces outside of his penalty area, and Muslera will send it long and straight over the halfway line, and a first touch for Diego Forlan. He tries to backheel the ball. It's anticipated by Toulalan, and the French briefly have possession before they give it away, and Alvaro Pereira will pick it up with the yellow boots. Easy to pick him out on the far side. Again they look for Forlan, and again it's Abidal who intercepts, and France play it back towards the halfway line. Jan Mulby.
Well, I certainly think you can sense already that nerves is not going to be a problem for Uruguay. They've settled well, they know they've got all to gain, nothing to lose here, and if anything it's the French. And I think the fact that Diaby's come into the side is telling you a story that they felt with maybe Meluda they would be a little bit too easy to play against when Uruguay had the ball, so they've stuck Diaby in there as a defensive shield.
Last night myself and John Murray came down to watch Uruguay train. They had a good run out on the pitch. Dominic decided not to bring his French players here, and in fact it wasn't until this morning when they came to the stadium and had a walk on the pitch for the first time. Obviously he's trying to keep his players out of the media. He was worried about photographers and maybe journalists seeing his players and all the reaction we're getting in their squad. But what do you read into that, Jan, that the French have not trained on this pitch?
Well, first and foremost, you're at a World Cup, so you're going to expect media attention. But
hang on, here's Ribery, and he's in an onside position. I think he thought he was offside
I
there.
think you're right.
10 yards outside the penalty area. He hesitated, looked to the linesman. The chance was gone.
Well, I think when you come to the stadium the night before to train, it's not actually to do some physical work. It's to get used to the surroundings. And I'm talking about the grass, how the ball rolls, make sure you get your boots right. And the French players have missed out on that. They might have had a little walk around this morning, but it's not quite the same.
Here's Anelka. First touch of the ball for the Chelsea man. Sets off towards the corner flag down the left. And he's tackled by Victorino, who keeps the ball in play by that corner flag. Uruguay playing left to right as we look down. 0-0 here on 5 Live, and a header from Diego Perez, the Monaco midfielder, goes over the halfway line, but easy for Gallas to control. William Gallas, who's not speaking to the media for the duration of the World Cup, he says, gives it back to Hugo Lloris, the Lyon goalkeeper. Still no goals in this, the second game of the 2010 World Cup. Now this is Evra, the French captain, up towards Ribery. He tries a back heel that doesn't come off. Uruguay tried to counter, and Suarez can't get a touch as Abidal helps it back to the goalkeeper.
Yeah, I think looking at Uruguay already, we'll talk about the front two, but the front two actually split. Forlan's playing over towards the left, Suarez over towards the right, and then that allows the attacking midfield player, Gonzalez, to come through the middle.
Uruguay defending on the edge of their penalty area. Diego Lugano gets a header on it, the captain. They haven't fully cleared their lines just yet, though. Arevalo Rios does send it now towards the halfway line. He gets another touch of the ball, the Penarol midfielder. One of just 2 players in this Uruguay squad who plays his club football still in his homeland. Most of them dotted elsewhere around South America, and of course quite a number of them playing in Europe. So free kick to Uruguay on the halfway line. I'm just looking at the way they're pushing forward. Gonzalez, the former Newcastle man, pushing up now, and it's almost 3 strikers with Forlan and Suarez for this free kick, which is taken by Victorino towards Forlan in the D. The header is won in the air by Gallas, and France should have this under control. Evra's touch is a bit heavy. It goes out of play. Throw in to Uruguay midway inside the French half, and still no goals on 5 Live.
Yeah, slightly better start by Uruguay. I just think they're more comfortable with their system. There's not an awful lot of international teams. There's not an awful lot of teams full stop that plays the 3-5-2 system anymore. But they do, and they seem comfortable with it.
New generation of French players, of course, and of this squad, 15 of them are playing at a World Cup or travelling to a World Cup for the first time. Ribery gets the whistle blown against him. Maybe it was Anelka who was offside there, but the free kick has been given Uruguay's way. No doubt about it that Anelka is certainly playing as a lone striker with Ribery to the left and Govou to the right hand side, and Gourcuff is the man trying to fill the role in behind them. So yet another free kick to Uruguay, and again Victorino takes it across to Godin and back to the captain Lugano, midway inside the Uruguay half, sends it down the right channel. Suarez will chase after it. Abidal, the Barcelona man, very much in control of the situation, and the ball trickles out. Goal kick to France. Jan Molby.
He's an interesting character, isn't he, Suarez? I mean, you just mentioned before his figures from last season, 49 and 48 games. But that's not his first season of scoring a bundle. He's been scoring goals throughout his career. And I think if he gets himself notices this World Cup by he's scoring maybe 2, 3, 4 goals, I think a big club is going to take a gamble.
Of course, a lot of people writing off France. It should be remembered they have reached 2 of the last 3 finals. And possession with the Uruguay goalkeeper here is wearing a kind of a lime green outfit. And sends his clearance long over the halfway line. We saw the South Africans earlier on today taking great advantage from long booming clearances from the goalkeeper. If you missed it, South Africa won, Mexico won in the opening game here in South Africa. Here come France down the right hand side. Sagna, one of his first touches of the ball, tries to play it into the Uruguay penalty area. It's brought clear though by Arevalo Rios. And now towards Forlan on the halfway line, left of centre, in front of Suarez. He's going to need an awful lot of pace to get there. He won't. And Hugo Lloris comes to the edge of his penalty area to make the save for France. 0-0.
Still a little indication though, isn't it, Diego Forlan, what he's capable of. He receives the ball. He's always got time. He always buys himself a bit of space. And the pass that everybody thought he was going to play down the line, he saw something else, and he saw Suarez. And
here comes Ribery. He's beaten 2 down the left-hand side. Early ball in. Govou misses. Best chance of the game by far. It's come 6.5 minutes in, and Sidney Govou, with almost a fresh air shot inside the 6-yard box, all created by Ribery.
Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? You know, Ribery's lucky to get the bounce. He's on the byline. He puts in a cross. Sidney Gubu just opens up his right foot, wants a side foot into the bottom corner, and he just goes wide. 6 yards out, should have been a goal.
Enormous chance, and one that Raymond Domenech would have loved to go in to ease the pressure on him. He's going to lose his job no matter what happens here. If France win the World Cup, it doesn't matter. Laurent Blanc will be taken over, but Domenech would love the early start here to settle some nerves amongst his restless team. And Ribery showing his brilliance there to create the chance. I wonder what Thierry Henry, sitting on the bench, made of Govu's attempt to score the chance.
He's probably thinking that could have been my 52nd international goal.
Jan's been reading up on the stat books. Plenty of those around in Cape Town this week. As Suarez tries to get it just inside the Uruguay half, and he's been fouled, in fact, by Toulalan. So free kick to Uruguay, a chance for them to break into the French half. But we've had the big chance.
Yeah,
and
the
France
big chance has been,
scored.
isn't it? There's no guarantee there's going to be more chances. But that was a big chance. Low cross by Ribery, absolutely perfect. Sidney Gubu, 1-0. Nope, didn't get it right.
He has scored 10 goals in international football in the past, Govu. Played in Germany in 2006, but he's not scored at a World Cup finals before. Victorino's the man on the ball. His challenge on Ribery was very rash, wasn't it?
Was.
I mean, we say Ribery's done well, but he's almost been allowed to do it.
Absolutely, right? I thought it was the defender's goal.
Now, this is Gourcuff, who's not been in the game at all, and challenged robustly by Arevalo Rios. We've played 8 minutes here in Cape Town. 0-0 between Uruguay and France. Gourcuff picks himself up. He's supposed to be the man filling the Zidane role, if you like. Not much to compare him with at the moment. Now here comes Forlan for Uruguay. Up to the edge of the French penalty area. Out comes Abidal from central defence to close him down. Sagna slides in, and the ball goes out. Is that going to be a corner?
Throw in.
Throw in right down by the corner flag. For Uruguay. And Alvaro Pereira will take it to Forlan. He is the talisman. They're always looking to get the ball to the former Manchester United man. His career has really blossomed since leaving at Old Trafford. A 2-time European Golden Boot winner. Now, here's Gourcuff. First time he's had the ball in a bit of space around him. He's wide he's wide right on the right-hand side and completely unaware that Pereira was stealing in behind him, and it was like candy from a baby, and Gourcuff has not had a good start to this World Cup.
No, he hasn't, has he? But I mean, we were warned last night that he plays better for his club side than what he does for France at the moment.
Well, you hear that about one or two players, don't you? This is Ribery, 10 yards outside the Uruguay penalty area, sends it in low, and Diego Lagano with a diving header clears the ball away, and eventually the last touch there comes off Evra. So the throw-in will be Uruguay's, and a defensive position right-hand side for them. Uruguay 0, France 0, here on 5 Live. Don't forget tomorrow, all the build-up to England against USA from 7:30. Danny Baker's first live World Cup show from Johannesburg is at 9 a.m. 5 Live Sports starts at 11:30. The commentaries including South Korea, Greece and the Argentina game. And then, of course, all the best build-up to England against the USA. Here is Abou Diaby, the Arsenal midfielder, who goes for goal from 35 yards out. And they say a lot about this new light ball. Predictable results from Diaby.
Well, he's probably never scored from that distance in his life, has he? But if he's ever going to, it's going to be with this ball. So, credit to him for trying.
Yeah, he's not scored yet in an international jersey. Abou Diaby had a very good season goal-scoring wise for Arsenal as a midfielder. Got 7 goals. That's the most he's had in a campaign since breaking into the team. And here is Gonzalez for Uruguay, 10 yards. Now, Suarez is offside. Well, the referee hesitated. In the end, the shot is saved by Loris anyway. But that was a close affair, and Luis Suarez nearly getting in around the back of the French defence.
Yeah, we've just seen already how he plays as Suarez, on the shoulder of the defenders, always looking for that ball in behind, whereas Diego Forlan drops deep, gets involved in the build-up. Suarez doesn't.
A Mexican wave begins to make its way around the Greenpoint Stadium. Sidney Govu makes his way into the Uruguay penalty area, and the defence were not very alert to his presence there. They thought they were letting it drift back to the goalkeeper. Fortunately for Uruguay, it's a wide position. Ribery will pick it up, gives it in, and well intercepted again by Arevalo Rios, who's made a lot of interceptions just outside the penalty area, frustrating the French attack. Now Diego Perez is fouled by Evra, and that's going to be the first yellow card of the game, and France's new captain, Patrice Evra, is in the Japanese referee's notebook.
Yeah, pretty straightforward. The attacker just got away from Evra, pulls him back, straightforward yellow card. But I think the picture we're seeing now is what we're going to be seeing. The French are slightly on top. Uruguay don't play particularly quick. They play small passes and just move the ball around. When you lose it, you get everybody behind the ball. The French, as I said before, are slightly on top at the moment.
Both these nations qualified for the World Cup via the playoffs. Uruguay were actually the last of the 32 countries to secure their place here, but they're playing on the opening day and they have possession on the halfway line. Victorino looking for Suarez, might be in around the back of Abidal. Goalkeeper Loris comes and drops it and runs the ball out. Well, he ran his feet out behind the goal line. He kept the ball in the field of play by stretching out his hands, and it's not a corner, but that did not look very secure from Loris.
It didn't. I mean, again, we have to question the ball. But if you'd have been anywhere near his goal, that would have bounced over and could have ended up in the net. So again, we saw a couple of incidents in the first game with the ball, and we've seen one already here tonight.
A lot of talk about the ball in the build-up, but as usual, the goalkeepers' union had their say on it. Apparently, even when it's got no air in it, the ball remains round, which I was just thinking any kids who buy one here in South Africa to bring home might be a little bit disappointed when they try to get it into the suitcase if it doesn't deflate. Anyway, France have attacked down the right-hand side here, and via Sidney Guvu, they have managed to win a corner on the right-hand side. Guvu has missed the game's outstanding opportunity so far, and France hoping to maybe build on something with this corner on the right-hand side. The vuvuzelas fill the noise with air, each of them equivalent to the noise of a chainsaw, and you can imagine what it's like being amongst 66,000 people and most of them blowing those horns. As here comes the corner, Govu's header at the front post comes away off a defender, Godin, and back out to Gourcuff. Here's the cross into the centre, misses everyone. Arevalo Rios can clear back to the halfway line.
Yeah, again, it was a chance, wasn't it? It wasn't a great corner in, but Guvu just managed to get himself in front of the defender, nodded towards goal, defender clears it, but they're still after the French. They're well on top at the moment.
Yeah, Gourcuff to the right hand side to Sanya, and then Anelka's header is over the crossbar. Well, it's the first time they've crossed it in the direction of the Chelsea striker. Nicolas Anelka got underneath the ball.
Yeah, it's not his strength, is it, scoring headed goals? We just see the incident again, Guvu's header. But they'll be quite pleased, the French. They made a good start. They're certainly on top, but the Uruguayan wouldn't be overly worried either. I think they expected the game to go a bit like this, and they're just waiting for some magic from their front two.
So 0-0 here with over 14 minutes played on 5 Live. Jan Molby, our guest, who played for Denmark at the 1986 World Cup, and Nelka has possession, gives it to Sanya with the red boots on the right hand side up towards Govu, who gives away possession, and here comes Gonzalez up towards the centre circle for the Uruguayans, playing left to right as we look down in their sky blue jerseys. Alvaro Pereira sends one a bit aimlessly over the halfway line. That's not anywhere near Suarez or Forlan, and it's picked up comfortably by Abidal, and now this is Abu Diaby, the Arsenal midfielder, back to his club teammate William Gallas. If you're joining our coverage late here, Ribery has made one fine break down the left flank and a good cross for Govu, who had no connection inside the 6-yard box. The goal was at his mercy. It's been the one big chance so far. Earlier on it finished 1-1 between the host South Africa and Mexico, and there's that man Arevalo Rios making another interception just outside the Uruguay penalty area. He is their destroyer.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's that defensive shield in front of the back three, intercepting an awful lot of balls, and he starts the game very well.
Throw it to Uruguay, halfway line on the right hand side. We've played quarter of an hour, and this is Diego Perez, who turns neatly away from the attentions of Johan Gourcuff, and now it's over to the left wing as Uruguay come forward, and Alvaro Pereira, and now Forlan, and the Uruguayan fans get to their feet whenever he's on the ball, and he's played a good one too, into the penalty area. This is Forlan, right-footed shot, saved by Hugo Lloris. It was a powerful effort, it was travelling on target, the French goalkeeper parried it away.
Yeah, it was the hallmark of a great player. I think Forlan is a top international player, and he was involved. He made the first pass. The two defenders followed the movement of the ball. He sneaked in behind him. Good first touch, opened up his body, tried to bend it into the top far corner. Good save by the goalkeeper, but by far Uruguay's best moment.
Yeah, there wasn't much on for Diego Forlan when he collected possession. There was plenty of defenders between him and the penalty area, but lovely movement, a 1-2 with Gonzalez, and the most experienced player in the Uruguayan squad getting on target with their first shot on target of the World Cup. Loris, to his credit, made the save. A little bit under pressure, but it was a right-footed shot, really drilled in with power by Diego Forlan, who was an injury doubt this week. He missed one of the Uruguay training sessions. I'm sure they were just wrapping him up in cotton wool to make sure that he made the start of their World Cup campaign. Here he is on the ball again, the bright blonde hair. And back into midfield to Arevalo Rios, and then the three central defenders take up possession, and it's with Mauricio Victorino. 10 yards inside his own half, and he's given the ball straight to Abou Diaby. Immediately releases Ribéry for France, wearing all white on the left-hand side. Three defenders around him. Ribéry goes all the way to the corner flag, and he's been fouled. Free kick to France, left-hand side.
I think it's one of those where you buy your team a free kick.
So Uruguay 0, France 0 on 5 Live from the BBC, and Gourcuff has come across. His deliveries haven't been great so far. He's a right-footed player, taking it from the left-hand side, about 15 yards from the byline. France have got just 4 white jerseys in the penalty area. Make that 5 as Gallas strides in there now, and 2 others waiting around the edge. There's the whistle from the Japanese referee. Here comes Gourcuff, going for goal, and it was on target until Muslera punched it out for a corner. Well, that was a good free kick.
If that was the intention.
Good point,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have been a cross in it, but it was destined for the top corner. I think the goalkeeper for the second might have thought he was going wide, but he just realised I better get across, punches it clear for the corner.
Which will be taken by the same man, Johan Gourcuff for France. 0-0 on 5 Live. Here it comes in, headed away by Victorino, out towards Ribéry, 15 yards outside the penalty area, and once again dispossessed by that man, Arevalo Rios. He's been my man of the match so far.
Well, I think Ribéry's sometimes struggle a little bit with
yellow card for Ribéry. Sorry, Jan.
Was that again for pulling?
I'm not sure. That seemed to be,
I think it was the same as Evra. He just pulled the player back. But I think sometimes Ribéry has a problem with when to dribble and when to pass. I mean, there's no doubt in his talent, but I think sometimes his decision making is not great, and we just see the incident again. It's similar to Evra, just pulls the player back.
Frank Ribéry, who have of course missed the Champions League final due to suspension. Bayern Munich missed him somewhat, as here comes Pereira down the right hand side. Maxi Pereira, the cross is too high for both Suarez and Forlan, but it is kept in by Alvaro Pereira on the far side, and Suarez gets a touch inside the penalty area. It's Gonzalo who goes for goal, but it's cleared away by France and picked up by Diego Perez for Uruguay, and they've held their own in the midfield battle here in the opening 19 minutes in Cape Town on 5 Live. This is Suarez in possession, the Ajax goal machine. Passes back behind him to Gonzalez, and then Perez is going to give away the ball. France are going to get it back and throw it inside their own half.
Yeah, it's not all the Uruguayan players who are top drawer, is it? I mean, they've got some very good players, but they've also got some average players, and every now and again they just give away the ball cheaply. Uruguay
0, France 0. I've heard reports that David Cameron is flying an England flag above number 10 for the duration of the World Cup. France haven't quite had that sort of backing from their government. They're staying in a luxurious hotel here overlooking the Indian Ocean, and one of the, I think it was the French sports minister, Rama Yade, said that during an economic crisis they shouldn't be staying in such an expensive hotel. So they're not quite getting the backing from the men in power, the French, but their backs have been up against the wall for quite a long time. They're probably used to it. Ribéry has possession 10 yards outside the penalty area, gives it to Evra, who's overlapping as a fullback, back to Ribéry, now Toulalan, Gourcuff. This is the best spell of passing we've seen from France, but the shot at the end of it is too high. You know, they say that the goalkeepers are going to be fooled by the ball, Jan. Surely the men taking the shots will too, that they're going to go too high on occasion.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously the hope is that everybody's going to get used to the ball the more they train and play with it. We've had shots from distance, so maybe they've seen something in training when they've been using the ball, that it is possible to shoot and have an advantage even from 30 yards. But at the moment, we've had 3 or 4 efforts. Nothing real to trouble the goalkeepers as of yet.
Right, here comes Suarez for Uruguay. Sagna has managed to get goal side and clears it away. That's going to go out for a throw into Uruguay. Attacking position down the left. 21 minutes played here in the second game of the 2010 World Cup. And this is in midfield Diego Perez, and he's worked it out to the near side. to the number 16 Maxi Pereira. Good ball back towards Perez, but athletically Evra is able to jump up into the air, stretch out his left leg and intercept possession. Evra, the France captain, chosen ahead of William Gallas, who had been assistant to Thierry Henry, and then it became clear that Henry was not going to be featuring in the starting 11 of the World Cup. Some thought Abidal might have been chosen because he had captained France in the past, but it's Evra, a popular figure in France with the French public, and not too many of this squad hold that particular moniker, but he's been the man who's chosen to wear the armband, probably as much that he's pretty much guaranteed to start every game, which the others may not be. Now this is Alvaro Pereira, left-hand side for Uruguay, still 0-0 here. Luis Suarez has possession, back out towards Alvaro Pereira. Good defending by Sagna to intercept, but Uruguay get it back again. Their passing is crisp in midfield. Arevalo Rios back to the three defenders, and then there's a mistake. Perez won't get this ball, and it falls to the dangerous Ribéry attacking the penalty area. Looks like he's been held up by Victorino. It's good defending that actually, and Uruguay come away with possession. We are approaching the midway point in the first half here in Cape Town. Uruguay 0, France 0, and John Murray will talk you through to half-time.
And thank you, Conor McNamara. I think, Jan, it's only right that we had an Irishman involved tonight in this game. Plenty of people feel there should have been a few more Irishmen involved here in Cape Town this evening, and a few less Frenchmen. And I notice actually there was an Irish tricolour which says it's actually been just blown over the top of the hoarding at the moment, but it says Henri Le Cheat. So there are more than just Conor from Ireland here this evening. Here's Forlan for Uruguay, shoots from 25 yards and it's blocked at source by the French, all in white. And Diaby now digs a pass forward and it's lost there by Lugano, the captain. And Anelka's onto it, and Anelka was just intercepted as he threatened to shimmy his way through into the penalty area. The challenge came in and Uruguay brought it away.
It appeared to be poor play by Lugano, didn't it? The first ball he should have easily cleared, but again maybe we sometimes have to give the benefit of the doubt to the players with this new ball. It's not quite as straightforward as maybe.
Suarez up the left-hand side but pulls the ball into the box. He was actually being watched very, very closely there by Sagna and wasn't able to find a teammate in light blue. Watch out, we've got a couple of light blue balloons just outside the French penalty area as well. That would be a carry-on if something happened with that during a World Cup of all places. Great, isn't it, now it's underway, Jan?
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. We've been waiting for this. I mean, so the people of South Africa, and as you rightly said, we're here now.
And the balloons have been spotted, and there's the round of applause for the French goalkeeper for popping two balloons. And that sums it up in Cape Town this week. They are looking for an opportunity to get excited about absolutely anything.
You want to clap everything?
Yep, or blow their horns.
Oh, no, not the horns.
What do you think, Jan? What do you think of the horns? We've been wondering what it was going to be like inside a 60-odd thousand capacity stadium.
Well, they start at 6:30 in the morning. That's my biggest worry. I can put up with them during 90 minutes of football. You know?
It's been all day and all night, but it's part of the scene, so we have to accept it. It's 0-0 here on 5 Live at the World Cup in Cape Town. And here's Gonzalez for Uruguay, up towards Forlan, who I must say has looked bright. As Conor said, we watched him in training last night and I thought he looked extremely sharp. Here's Suarez, his strike partner, who chests it back, but France have got it back because it was won back for them by the number 14, Toulalon.
There's not many teams who's got a player like Forlan. He just dips in and out of games, doesn't he? But when he's involved.
Here's Govou, now turns 30 yards out, approaches the penalty area, 2 Uruguayans in front of him, and his pass out to Anelka took a deflection and eventually bounces out of play for what is, well, there's confusion there between the officials. They had a look at each other, and in the end they gave it to the Uruguayans.
I think it should have been the other way. But just going back to Forlan, you know, I just think he's a great player. He's always got time and space on the ball.
Yep.
And he's going to be the key. If they're going to have any hopes of qualifying for the next round, the knockout stages, he'll have to play well, and he has started this game very well.
Yeah. And as I said at Anfield for the second leg of the Europa League semi-final, you have to be careful and you have to be wary when Forlan has been quiet in a match. Goals in both legs against Liverpool, and then both the goals against Fulham in the final. Here now is Diaby, though, strong from Diaby, plays it through into the box to Anelka, allows it to run out of the area, plays it back in, headed away, and it's Gonzalez who picks it up for Uruguay. There've been, I make it 3 good chances in the match so far. 2 for France, 1 for Uruguay. And it was Forlan for Uruguay, who spins on the halfway line but couldn't find the pass out to Alvaro Pereira on the left-hand side, and France have got it back.
Yeah, it was again a good first touch by Forlan. Bought some space. He was away and he just got a little bit lazy with the pass.
Yeah, Govou probably should have scored for France early on in the game from Ribéry's cross. Gourcuff went close with a free kick that was just about kept out by Muslera, the goalkeeper, while Forlan had the chance for Uruguay. That was very well saved by Lloris. Here now France again. Ball in from Sagna on the right hand side, went a long way and was cleared away at the back post. France have got it back. Here is Diaby once more. Diaby, surprisingly in the eyes of many, chosen in this team instead of Malouda, who's on the bench. It's Diaby's first involvement in a senior tournament. Ribéry now overhits his ball over the top of the Uruguayan defence, and it's through for a goal kick. So here on 5 Live, on what is a coolish night now in Cape Town after a beautiful day. There's not been a cloud in the sky here, and it is a quite spectacular place to come to in those sort of conditions. It is Uruguay 0, France 0. I don't know about you, Jan. I had all sorts of fears about a Winter World Cup, but the weather here has been just lovely this week.
Absolutely perfect.
And it looked pretty good from up on Table Mountain yesterday afternoon, didn't it, as well?
Just about a perfect day to make your way up there.
Yeah, and the
unrivaled views, fantastic.
And the many English supporters that we ran into up there were going to be at the game tonight. And I'm wondering if Nodda and his friends are watching from where they were intending to be. They said they'd have their flag, and I think that might be it down in one corner. Nodda and his friends from Merseyside, who recognised Jan immediately.
Absolutely.
Everton fans. Here's Lugano for Uruguay at the back, inside his own box, so he's cleared it away rather carelessly, and Govou plays it in, and it takes a deflection, and Anelka's after it, but it was hooked away. It wouldn't come down from that famous ball, and Uruguay have been able to get it away out of their own 6-yard box, but it's won back again by Govou on the right, but I think he was pulling back Alvaro Pereira he was, and it's a free kick to the Uruguayans halfway inside their own half. Still goalless here in match number 2 at World Cup 2010. Jan Molby.
Yeah, again, I mean, it was a mistake, again, a defensive mistake by Uruguay, and as the ball came out, Anelka was lurking like you expect him to do, but as you rightly said, the ball was just hanging just above his hip level, couldn't quite get a boot to it, otherwise it might have been a goal. It was another half a chance for the French.
Nearly half an hour gone, nearly 29 minutes actually. France the better team?
Yeah, I think so. I think they've managed to push Uruguay back, but I expected that. I expected the French to be slightly on top. But I think Uruguay plays the way that they're playing. They're quite happy to sit back, get plenty of men behind the ball, and just rely on the 3 front men they've got.
It's 0-0, goal kick to the French. Lloris made a good save, dive into his left to keep out that powerfully hit shot by Diego Forlan. I think there are some empty seats in various parts of the ground. One thing that does strike me is there doesn't seem to be any dedicated area, as far as I can see, for the Uruguay supporters and the French supporters. They seem to be, they're scattered around all over the place.
When you look around, there seem to be more French shirts in the crowd than Uruguay shirts, but they are everywhere. And the biggest group you see is possibly 20, 25 of them together.
Yeah.
So that's very unusual.
Yeah. Although, as Connor said, population of only just over 3 million Uruguay, you would expect them to be outnumbered. Throw in for France and their captain, Evra, with Thierry Henry only on the bench tonight for France. Now it's been brought forward by the left-sided central defender, Godin, but Alvaro Pereira, that's a poor touch from him, and Sagna's got it back, halfway inside the French half. Now it's up towards Govou. One or two expected that Gignac might have played instead of Govou, but Dominic went with Govou this evening. And now Alvaro Pereira to Forlan on the left-hand side. Gallos has gone across, Abidal in the middle, Forlan still in possession, looking for Suarez, in fact plays it to Gonzalez, but it was over the top of his head, and the ball runs out towards this side, the French left, and little Ribéry is there. Ribéry, who was widely in many quarters expected to leave Bayern Munich this summer, but he signed a new contract with them. Now here's Diaby plays the ball through, but Anelka had come back onside from an offside position, and the flag went up against him, and he shot and hit the goalkeeper in any case.
Yeah, the interesting bit there was the pass, I don't think, was intended for Anelka. The pass was intended for the runner from midfield, Govou. And as you rightly said, Nicolas Anelka's gone back into play, and I think that's why the assistant has put his flag up.
Jan Molby with us here on 5 Live, and it's correct. It's right, the decision.
If he leaves that one, Anelka, Good moves away.
Would have been on. Here is Anelka fighting for it again. Just a little touch to take it away out towards this touchline on the left-hand side. It stayed in play, the assistant says. So Anelka just rolls his foot cleverly over the ball, gives it back to Evra. That's Chelsea and Manchester United in tandem on this left-hand side. Evra beats his man. Evra pulls it across. Chance now for Gourcuff, but he wanted too much time. Cleared out. Shot now comes in from near the centre circle, which is blocked immediately. And then Uruguay played out of play for a throw on the halfway line.
We were expecting big things, weren't we, from Gourcuff? He's had a super season in the French league. But he looks a little bit one-paced, doesn't he?
He does. Throw into Evra. He's aiming for Gourcuff, and that's a push by Gourcuff on Arevalo Rios, the little bald-headed midfielder who was one of the surprises in the selection of Tabarez, the maestro. Only his 7th appearance, Arevalo Rios, but he looks quite comfortable.
He's done well, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Been very competitive in there. Read a lot of play.
Godin now to Alvaro Pereira. Up the left-hand side for Poland, but the offside flag is up, and it's a free kick to France near their own penalty area. So 32 minutes played. Uruguay 0, France 0, after earlier in Johannesburg, in Soccer City, South Africa drawing 1-1 with Mexico. That tremendous first goal of the tournament from Shabalala on his 50th appearance. It was a great way for the tournament to start in terms of goal scoring after South Africa were somewhat less than convincing for the first 20 minutes. Here's Alvaro Pereira for the Uruguayans, and Ignacio Gonzalez is eventually forced to lose possession. Anelka now to the right hand side, and the little run from Tulalo up the right, but he's blocked, and Ignacio Gonzalez picks it up again for Uruguay and plays it forward towards Perez. Now Forlan again, buzzing around in the centre circle. Forlan plays it to this right hand side, and Evra is there very quickly in the tackle to beat Maxi Pereira. Uruguay again, the Celeste as they call them, the sky blue. Forlan once more receives it, looks up, turns. He's got Suarez running ahead of him. Forlan though plays it to Suarez, and the offside flag is up, and it's a free kick for the French again.
Well, I love that again. I mean, I know we keep going on about Forlan, but he just got the ball, he ran at the defenders, and he allowed the defenders to get really, really close to him, and then created the space for somebody else. And that is so disappointing that Suarez has ran into an offside position, because he had so much time and space. But again, super play by Forlan.
Uruguay 0, France 0. Did you see the steward just come up and speak to me there?
Yeah, I did indeed, John.
Guess what he was asking me to do? Even though I've got a bottle of water here, which is hidden behind the little TV screen on our desk, it hadn't got its cap on, and he has made his way 30 yards to tell me to put the cap on my bottle.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, it does though, doesn't it?
I'd have been disappointed if he wouldn't have come across, John.
I feel ashamed and dirty.
We do as well.
John
and I feel embarrassed.
I'm sorry.
There's a number of people looking at you.
They are. God, I just feel terrible. The Uruguayans next to us have noticed.
Even they're laughing at you.
No, they think shame upon shame. Well, listen, everybody, the top's on the bottle now. It's 0-0, Uruguay and France, and here is Anelka. I can't believe that. I can't believe that happened. How did they spot it? Are we being watched by someone? Are there cameras?
Big brother.
They must be watching us, Jan. Well, I didn't expect that to be happening on the first game of this World Cup. It's 0-0, Uruguay and France. Not the greatest game, but there's certainly plenty out there to hold the interest. Suarez plays it back to Ignacio Gonzalez, once very briefly of Newcastle. Now Perez spins and is fouled just to the left of the centre circle. Perez against the French team, who plays his football in France for Monaco. Perez just fouled by I think it was Gobu who came in actually and shoved him over. So it's a free kick to Uruguay. So this is a promising situation. They're trying to inch the ball forward, but the Japanese referee isn't going to be fooled by that. And Forlan is going to take this free kick from just forward and left of the centre circle. 3, 4, 5. 6 Uruguayans just outside the French penalty area. Forlan, a little signal. There is a one-man French wall. Forlan strikes it towards the edge of the box, and it's headed away on the edge of the area for France and taken down and played up this left-hand side. And Ribéry is chasing it as quick as he can, but he's unlikely to reach that. And it's steered back to his goalkeeper by Maxi Pereira, and Muslera, all in lime green, clears it out of play over the top of the dugout for a throw-in to the French. 0-0 on 5 Live here in Cape Town. Now Gourcuff tried to, well, it was a Zidane-like turn, that, wasn't it, where he turns, uses his power, rolls his foot over the top of the ball, but he just didn't get it quite right, and possession was lost, and the Uruguayans had it.
Yeah, he's been slightly disappointing, I think, Gourcuff. I mean, we expected some big things of him, and I'm sure it's going to come, but it generally does take a game or so before you settle in the World Cup. And it's not just one game, it's a group. You've got 3 chances. So
there's a stretch by Gallas, who missed it and wins a free kick for Suarez, who was protesting his innocence. Well, I thought Gallas just slipped, but the referee has clearly seen a foul of some variety. And it's all happening in the first half here, because the Uruguayans next to us are now holding a microphone to my mouth and recording me commentating for whatever it is, Radio Uruguay. Well, goodness me, I feel as though I'm being assailed from all sides. It's 0-0. They've stopped now. I thought they'd be nervous tonight. Ball forward from Suarez, but he's in an offside position, and goalkeeper Lloris has got it.
Yeah, it's a tactical affair. I think we expected that, but we also know that there's enough quality out there to make things happen, so I'm sure we're going to get some goals.
I think the Uruguayans are enjoying their night so far. A couple of French goals would put paid to that.
Yeah, but I think the Uruguayans are quite happy.
Yep.
I don't think they had any great expectations either, but they were hoping that they were going to get out. This is a tricky group, this. You know, the Mexicans, I think the Mexicans are better than what they showed today. And South Africa, with the momentum and the home advantage, they're not going to be easy to play against.
Oh, and Diaby is fouled by Perez near the halfway line. It's a free kick. I think the referee considered a yellow card. I think Perez knew that he was thinking about a yellow card and was extremely penitent about it, and as a result there is no card for the Uruguayan midfielder. Uruguay 0, France 0 on 5 Live. We're going to be hearing from Fabio Capello, by the way, at half-time. He's been talking to Mike Ingham today after England's last training session ahead of their first game tomorrow, which you'll be listening to this time tomorrow night, or watching, depending on whatever. Can do both, of course. Free kick for the French. Gourcuff to take it, right-footed, drives it into the penalty area, and the goalkeeper looked a little uncertain for a moment there, Muslera, but he caught it eventually under no pressure.
Poor free kick.
Yeah,
he was getting an opportunity. And when there's not a lot in the games, you've got to make the most of set pieces.
Here's Maxi Pereira down the right-hand side, plays it back to the halfway line. And now Ignacio Gonzalez, who was the final straw as far as Kevin Keegan was concerned as Newcastle manager. The supposed Dennis Wise signing.
What was the problem? Not good enough. He looks okay.
Well, I was going to say, after all that carry-on, here he is now playing for Uruguay at a World Cup. Playing behind the front two.
Looks okay, looks a clever player, good movement, good touch.
5 minutes to go to half-time, still 0-0. And here now Abidal, who was a little bit of an injury worry this week for the French, but able to take his place. Obviously can play at full-back or in central defence. Gallas' partner, who was desperate, of course, to play at this World Cup. Now Govu has just caught Alvaro Pereira as he tried to play it forward out on the left-hand side. It's bounced out of play, the ball, and Alvaro Pereira is going to perhaps need a little bit of treatment.
Yeah, I think what has happened is as Govu has just blocked the ball, and because he hasn't got a good connection on the left back, he's just slightly maybe twisted his knee ligaments.
Well, he's okay. He hasn't needed the treatment from the physio. It's a free kick that's been given, actually, for the challenge.
That was slightly strange. I think the assistant might have given that.
Yeah, so it's a free kick that the Uruguayans have inside their own half. And Alvaro Pereira is still moving a little.
He's not happy,
gingerly.
Is he?
No, he is. Ball up towards Gonzalez. Gonzalez again on the left side. Plays it back towards the halfway line. It's lifted forward towards Suarez, who just chests it. via the challenge of Sagna out of play for a throw-in to the Uruguayans. The game's just in a bit of a lull at the moment, really. Alvaro Pereira just breaks into a trot, preparing to take this throw-in, which he does, back to Aravalo Rios. Now Alvaro Pereira again, down into the full-back position, but the ball just bounces through and is cleared away by Toulanon. Gallas challenges for it with Gonzalez, who goes spinning down to the ground. And Ribéry now in possession for the French. Evra, ball was played slightly behind him by Ribéry. So Abidal. And out of play off Forlan for a throw-in. And the ball's fielded by Dominic himself, the outgoing French coach. And the fact that we've been in a little lull in the game indicates you might hear the rumble behind us around the Green Point Stadium here, which sounds a little bit like thunder, which they know all about in this part of the world, but it's the seats going up and down as the spectators enjoy, in inverted commas, a Mexican wave. Here's Diaby. It's 0-0 on 5 Live in Cape Town. Diaby out towards the right-hand side. Sagna stretching forward, back onto his left foot. Sagna's cross into the area, flashing header from Anelka, but 3-4 yards wide of the goal.
Yeah, it was a good cross. He came back on his left foot, Sagna, to put the ball in. And I think Anelka just gets the slightest of touches on this one. It goes about 4 yards wide. But the problem you got at both ends is that nobody's really getting in behind, are they? Ribéry's not getting to the byline, neither is Gubu. So none of the two defenders are really stretched as it's been in the first half. It's been relatively comfortable.
Yep. 2.5 minutes to go of the first 45. Uruguay 0, France 0. I'm afraid I'm going to have to take the top off my water bottle again.
Be careful.
So watch out. Watch out. Where are they? And I'm not able to take a slurp yet. Next time you speak, Jan, I'll have a slurp of water and then I'll put the top back on the bottle again. Here's Forlan. Plays it through to Suarez, but doesn't reach him. Evra now. Evra with the captain's armband on. One of the French journalists was telling us last night that they reckon Evra was something like the 4th choice for captain, but here he is with the armband in their first match at this World Cup. Forward now from Perez, and then Suarez fouls Gallas, and it's a free kick to the French 10 yards inside their own half.
Yeah, they don't shirk anything, the Uruguay. This is a challenge. They'll give it a go. Physically strong team.
0-0 as we approach half-time, and still really only 3 very good chances in this first half. 2 for France, 1 for Uruguay, none of them taken. Here's Gofu on the right-hand side, played it behind Anelka, but it's run to Diaby, who almost played it through back into the box for Anelka, but it was headed away on the edge of the area by Victorino for Uruguay. And then the ball bounces out of play for a goal kick to Uruguay off Toulanon.
It was one of those almost chances, wasn't there, if the ball came to Diaby, and you'd think, create a bit of space for yourself, have a shot. He tried the first time, pass in behind the defenders for Anelka, didn't get through.
Last minute of the first half, 0-0 here in this stadium, which is 3 tiers all the way around, all the mod cons, magnificent roof which curves above our heads, and the stadium from the outside really is quite striking. I would say, for those who've seen pictures of it, maybe on the television, it's actually a good deal more striking when you see it here in the steel and fiberglass, as it were. It's been described as looking a bit like the hull of a cruise liner. They say it's like a traditional South African lady's hat, but whatever it is, it really does dominate from all around. As the French, with the ball inside their own half, and Evra to Diaby. Diaby preferred to Vieira, really, in terms of the squad selection by Dominic. 1 minute of added time at the end of this first half that we're into. Ribéry brilliantly away from 2 men. Ribéry now to the edge of the box towards Diaby, who turns, might have been blocked by the defender, and then wasn't able to reach the ball, and it was cleared away by Maxi Pereira. Uruguay struggling to get it away. Evra might have been fouled there as he and Perez went for the loose ball. Evra's back up straight on his feet because the ball came to him, and then Toulanon is challenged, and he's gone down as well, and the free kick's been given. Just a little heavy that was by Ignacio Gonzalez, and a free kick to the French.
They've had a couple of good moments again, the French. Ribéry again involved. I think he wanted to play a little 1-2 with Diaby. Diaby decided to go on his own, lost the ball. But I just think this game is very much in the balance. But I think if the French are prepared to really gamble, to go looking for the 3 points. I think it's there for them. I think Uruguay, they'll perceive France as the strongest team in this group. I think they'll be pleased with the draw.
Raymond Domenech did not like that challenge, but Trillalon's okay. Free kick on the left for the French. Dying moments of the first half. This will be the last action of it. Gourcuff plays it into the 6-yard box. Goalkeeper comes, gets a punch on it. Good punch as well. Good 30 yards. Gonzalez challenges for it. Uruguay could be away on the break here. Suarez couldn't find Forlan with the long pass, and that's the whistle for half-time in Cape Town. And it's Uruguay 0, France 0. And the applause from all nations inside the Cape Town Stadium. What have you made of the first 45 minutes?
Well, as I said before, it's a tactical affair. I'm not surprised. I mean, the two teams are playing different systems, but they're coping very well with the opposition. There hasn't been a great deal of chances, but I still think there's enough quality out there to make something happen. Uruguay, Forlan's been sensational. Suarez hasn't really got into the game, and France are slightly on top, and they've got good players. Ribéry, you fancy a Nelka to maybe nick a goal. So I still think there's plenty of hope for the second half.
So I'm off to present on Uruguayan radio at half-time, and here in Cape Town it's Uruguay 0, France 0.
Thank you very much. You know, I think the South American fame has gone to John Murray's head here. John Murray, they're calling him. And I can confirm that during the first half, a camera, albeit a camcorder, was positioned at my esteemed colleague during his commentary. So we'll no doubt make investigations further into that in the second half. 0-0 it is. Both teams back out on the pitch here, about to get back underway on 5 Live. And 2 yellow cards in the first half, both shown to French players, Evra and Ribéry. 2 really good chances. The first for France, this was the best chance. Govou missed it inside the 6-yard box. Forlan, a shot from the edge of the penalty area, the best that Uruguay could muster. The Japanese referee has restarted the second half, and possession away to our right-hand side with Uruguay. I'm just scanning my eyes over the players down on the pitch. It doesn't appear that there's been any changes in personnel over half-time. So France, wearing all white, will attack from left to right as we look down. But here come Uruguay. Suarez, it clipped his heel as he tried to run through, and that's unfortunate for the Ajax striker. Jan Mulby.
Yes, it was. I mean, again, it's where he played the first half on the shoulder of the defenders, and he is reliant on his teammates to put good balls through for him. That hasn't happened as of yet, and I still think, and if you look, the French players out warming up, aren't they? There's a couple of strikers there, Thierry Henry and whatever, and I think they feel that if they can just push it on a little bit, they might just be able to win this one.
Here come France down the right hand side with Trillalon, who's not famous for his surges forward. He gets to the byline, left foot across, easy for the goalkeeper to take. Amongst the French media here watching the game, the Arsenal manager Arsene Wenger, who has been linked to Suarez. Mind you, there's hardly a big club in Europe that hasn't been linked to the man who scored almost 50 goals this season. But plenty of his players who already charges of his that he can watch as the game continues here. Here's Anelka, who used to play under Wenger at Arsenal, of course. And now to Sagna, who's a current gunner. Back to Gourcuff. Here comes a ball into the centre, and his passes have not been good tonight, Gourcuff. He's supposed to be the creative flair. It's just not happening for him.
I was just going to say, who's also been linked strongly with Arsenal, in case Fabregas goes. But no, he's had a disappointing first half. He just looks a little bit laboured. But the way he plays for his club side, Bordeaux, where he's the key man, he's the one who makes them tick. So there's no doubt the boy's got a talent. Yeah,
still only 23 as well, Johan Gourcuff. His 24th birthday falls on the day of the World Cup final. That would be a fine way to blow out the candles, wouldn't it?
That would be something indeed.
Down on the touchline, Thierry Henry, still fully track-suited up, is doing a very casual light warm-up. Doesn't look like he's about to burst into action anytime soon. He is wrapped up warm, though, with the tracksuit on. I noticed, working for BBC Television, Mark Lawrenson has done a complete schoolboy error. He's seen the sunshine today, he's seen the blue skies,
not shorts,
and he's come to the game in shorts. He's sitting with the red top there just down in front of us, so we will see the goosebumps from here by the time full time comes. The weather here very, very deceptive. Even when you go out for lunch, the sun beaming down on you, it's very warm, but step into the shade and immediately it feels very cold. Lovely conditions though for football tonight, and they do get very heavy rain from time to time in Cape Town. We've been spared any of that. Uruguay 0, France 0. This is 5 Live from the BBC at the World Cup 2010. Diego Forlan, Uruguay's best player, has possession, and they've worked it to Alvaro Pereira on the left hand side, and a long ball down that left channel for Ignacio Gonzalez to chase. Gallas gets there first. Not a very clean clearance. Gallas under a bit of pressure here. Now there's it picked up by Arevalo Rios. Back out towards Gonzalez. Sanya is going to get Gallas out of a bit of trouble here and try and clear away from a right full back position. He's not done it quite yet. Gives it back in field to William Gallas. And France can't get away from the edge of their own penalty area. This is Alvaro Pereira for Uruguay. Abu Diaby too strong in the challenge on Suarez. And that's a free kick to Uruguay, which is within 10 yards of the penalty area, but it's very far out on the left-hand side.
Yeah, and they'll move everybody forward. The three big centre-halves will come forward. Diego Forlan will make his way across to take this one. It was a good little spell for Uruguay. Kept the pressure on, won a couple of second balls, and just kept France pinned in.
Just noticing, I mean, Suarez, the striker, he's nippy. He's not tall for this sort of set-piece situation. Diego Lugano has gone forward, the captain, the defender. There's Forlan with the long, straggly blonde hair, stands his hands on his hips and prepares to send this free kick in. Similar position to the one that Gourcuff, we think, went for goal, or maybe went for a cross that became a shot on goal in the first half. And to that effect, France have erected a two-man wall. Ribery and Govu are standing in front of Forlan, just outside the penalty area. Here comes Forlan, right-footed, chipped towards the back post, and it was Diaby, the tall midfielder, who heads it outside the penalty area, picked up by Suarez on the right-hand side, and Sanya had trapped his run, and that's a throw into Uruguay, who remain on the attack. They're right down with the corner flag. 0-0, Jan Mulder.
Yeah, it was well defended by Diaby. He had to. He followed his man. He did his defensive duty. They tried to get everybody to run to the knee of the goal and then Forlan to deliver at the far post, and it almost worked.
So throw in to Uruguay to be taken by the Benfica player Maxi Pereira. Played against Liverpool in the Europa League this season. He's thrown into the penalty area, headed away easily by Evra, and then it falls down to Arevalo Rios, and his shot ends up in the safety of the arms of the goalkeeper Hugo Lloris. It was worth an effort. It dropped from a real tall height for him. He kept it low, just not quite on target.
No, it's a very difficult technique coming out of the skies, and I would suggest that he's not a goal-scoring midfield player, although he's played very well tonight as a defensive shield in front of the back three for Uruguay.
Just thinking of that Uruguay free kick. Well, I mean, one of the many famous quotes from Raymond Domenech, but he says that he never works on defending set pieces. He says, I've too little time with my players to waste it telling them how to mark. He says they already know how to do it, and when they lapse, it's not my fault. That's a wonderful way to pass the buck if you're a manager.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not what you want to hear as a player, is it?
Well, here is Patrice Evra, who I'm sure gets more complex instructions at club level. And then a Nicolas Anelka tries for a potluck shot from 15 yards outside the penalty area, but it bounced several times before being picked up by Fernando Muslera, the young Lazio goalkeeper. Long clearance, finds Forlan, and into the penalty area, a left-footed shot. Now, he might have been nudged off his stride there just as he went to power that shot, which was off target. He's landed back down on top of William Gallas Forlan, and he may have injured the Arsenal defender. We're getting to see a replay of it, Jan.
Let's have a look then. Yeah, he's just landed on top of his thigh, hasn't he? I mean, it was a great ball forward again. Good take by Forlan on his chest, in between two defenders. But I think the fact that the defenders were relatively close just put off Diego Forlan for the shot.
Well, Gallas won't be able to complain about it to the media afterwards. He's imposed a ban. He won't be speaking to anyone, but Forlan there, and it was a real flying effort as he shot with his left boot. The momentum brought his right foot and everything up into the air, and when he came back down to earth, nothing intentional about the way he landed, but William Gallas would have felt that just above his knee. Forlan remains the threat, and the game remains 0-0.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, his movement is very, very clever. He's not necessarily the quickest player in the world, but he spots opportunity that nobody else sees, whether it's with or without the ball.
Scored home and away against Liverpool in the Europa League this season. He also scored against Fulham in the final, did Atletico Madrid's Diego Forlan. And here come Uruguay again. This time it's Alvaro Pereira, and he's lost out. So Ribery will pick up possession for France. Loses it to Diego Perez. Back to Alvaro Pereira on the left with his yellow boots. Early ball towards the dangerous front two, but Forlan is beaten to the ball by Evra. And now Gallas, who's back and running freely once more, also in the yellow footwear, will pick up possession and roll it short to Bakary Sagna, who played more minutes in qualifying than any other French player. He's well and truly nailed down the right back position in this squad. Back to the goalkeeper Lloris, wearing yellow and Black, and then he's sent an accurate clearance towards Ribery, doesn't control it, possession taken off him by Maxi Pereira, who then loses it to Patrice Evra. Now here he comes over the halfway line with long strides, picks out Gourcuff, central location of the Uruguay half. Sagna calls for the ball and receives it. The cross is towards Anelka. He was well patrolled by Godin, and the ball is going to be kept in play just about for Uruguay, and they will clear it away. But again, only the second time in the game they've crossed in towards Anelka.
Yeah, but it was a good cross in, good defensive play by Godin. He had to stick with Anelka.
53 minutes played. It's 0-0 between Uruguay and France here in Cape Town, in the shadow of Table Mountain, and Evra will tee up Gourcuff, and the shot cannons off the face of a defender on the edge of the penalty area. Falls back for Ribery. Exchanges passes with Toulalan. Now Evra, who's up like a left winger, but his pass now intercepted by Maxi Pereira. Evra battles back and has done ever so well to win possession for France. Takes a quick throw in. That's towards Gourcuff. Gourcuff is having a torrid evening, loses the ball between his own legs, and Uruguay clear it up towards the halfway line. There could be a chance here. Gonzalez fouled by Toulalan. That will stop that. And the free kick is Uruguay's, but France being professional there because it allows all the attackers to get back into defensive formation.
Yeah, absolutely, but they don't commit too many players forward, do the Uruguay? We just saw the shot from Gourcuff, which was on its way out the ground, I think.
Exactly, yeah. He's quite lucky that hit a defender, because it looked like, it was a good effort and saved by the defender. That would have ended up out in the Atlantic Ocean had it not ricocheted off the face of one of the Uruguay defenders. This is William Gallas for France, midway inside the French half, up towards the halfway line, and Toulalan finds who's that? That's Diaby, but he doesn't control it very well, and Uruguay regain possession. Arevalo Rias, their holding midfielder, and he's fouled. I think Diaby was frustrated at losing the ball, and he fouled Alvaro Rios in his attempts to win it back again. So still scoreless. By the way, the last time these two sides met in a World Cup was in 2002, and it finished 0-0. This is Diaby inside the French half, bit of space in front of him now, and he's going to chip it in front of Ribery, who's made a good run down the left hand side. Gourcuff was making a bit of a nuisance of himself there, almost getting in Ribery's way, and the French lose possession, and then Uruguay give it away again closer to the halfway line, and Toulalan goes for goal from what must be close to 40 yards, and it's easily saved by the keeper.
It was, but it was a good shot. He kept it down. I mean, all the shots we've seen have gone over the crossbar. That one didn't. Managed to keep it down.
Did you see, Jan, the very end of the South Africa-Mexico game, when the South African goalkeeper, appeared that he was shooting for goal from inside his own penalty area?
But we were talking about him, weren't we? He looked like being a very good kick of a ball, doesn't he? But maybe that was a bit overambitious.
That was, well, it would have been a World Cup moment none of us will ever forget, but yeah, we're always impressed when players score from the halfway line, so from the other penalty area altogether is maybe chancing your luck a little bit too much. Uruguay 0, France 0. Earlier on today it did finish South Africa 1, Mexico 1. The home nation, the Bafana went 1-0 up in that game. Myself, John and Jan were on our way into this stadium as that goal went in, and there was no doubt what had happened as we heard the horns erupt all over Cape Town out on the deserted streets. Here comes Patrice Evra, picks out Gourcuff, now he'll try and shoot. It's well smothered. It's Arevalo Rios again, just got his leg in the way of the shot. The ball travelled mere inches on the edge of the penalty area.
Yeah, again it was an opportunity. They broke down the left. Evra again, he spent an awful lot of time in Uruguay's half, and again Gourcuff just looks like a player who's losing his confidence minute by minute.
Possession for Uruguay, just down below us, Alvaro Pereira, the Porto midfielder, and this is where it all started for Alvaro Pereira. Made his debut against France in 2008. Here he is in 2010 playing against them in the opening game for these countries at the World Cup 2010. And France regained possession here with Govou, who has clearly had the best chance of this game. Ribery's cross from the left seemed to be on a plate for Sidney Govou, and he couldn't score from inside the 6-yard box. It almost just flashed in front of his foot, and he didn't make any sort of connection on it. Here comes Diaby, 15 yards outside the penalty area. Again, Arevalo Rios is the man making a nuisance of himself, and again, Diaby responds by... Now, here's a shot from deep inside the half by Lugano, and it was probably on target, but the goalkeeper ran back and got it.
That would count as a shot on target.
Maybe that's what the designers of the new ball were.
Was that what they had in mind?
Yeah. It's the 60-yard plus efforts.
It was definitely more than 60, wasn't it?
Yeah, but exactly. It was just outside the penalty area at the other end. Could be one of the themes of this World Cup. As Sanya drifts in field, and we've played 13 minutes in the second half. And a little bit under pressure there. Abidal slides to the ground but keeps possession with the French and gives it to his captain, Patrice Evra. Diaby's ball is sloppy. Evra's made absolutely the most of that, and he's still going, and he's fouled by Victorino. Victorino was the man who lunged at Ribery in the first half. This time he'll be punished. Free kick to France and a yellow card. The first for Uruguay, who down the years of the World Cup have got a reputation for collecting cards. And Victorino the first in the notebook tonight.
But I just don't understand why the defender makes that challenge. He knows he's not going to get there. He knows he's going to bring down the player. He's put his team under an awful lot of pressure.
He's an inexperienced international, Maurizio Victorino, tonight just his 5th cap. He didn't play in any of the regular qualifiers. He did play in the playoffs as Uruguay secured their place here in South Africa, and he has given away a free kick in a dangerous position now, just outside the penalty area, left-hand side, and Gourcuff, again the man who's been trusted with the responsibility, though he's not exactly impressed with his delivery so far. Let's see if this one can be better from Gourcuff, the Bordeaux midfielder. A short run-up, it's a decoy, rolls it to Ribery, and the shot is off target. It came off the outside of his right boot, and it spun away towards the corner flag.
Yeah, I mean, obviously something they've worked on, the training ground, and as it's come across again, it's a very difficult skill, especially with the ball being as lively as it is, and it's just sat up for Ribery, and he's hit it with the outside of the right foot, and it's gone some 15 yards wide.
Ribery did score a goal at the last World Cup, came against Spain, and there's not too many shots on target. That's probably the first shot that Ribery has attempted in this game. He's been trying to supply them for Anelka and Govou so far.
He hasn't been at his best, has he, Ribery? No. I mean, when he's at it, he's a super player.
Well, he's been involved in a scandal involving his personal life in his homeland in the build-up to this World Cup, dominating a lot of talk in the French media. It must be affecting him to at least some degree as Ribery crosses from the left-hand side, and Anelka somehow managed to salvage a header out of that. He was diving away from goal from the penalty spot outwards, and yet he managed to hook a header back towards the goal, even if it did eventually go off target.
Yeah, he did ever so well there, Nicholas Anelka. He certainly looks a lot more interested than what he did against China, but he's still hit the back of the net. It hasn't quite come up from him as of yet.
Yeah, you look back over his international career, Nicholas Anelka, he only averages 1 goal a year. Mind you, he has had a few. Yeah, well, the trouble is with that statistic is that it doesn't take into account the many years that he just didn't play for the team. Yeah. But, you know, he's been involved sort of 12 years or so. He scored 13, 14 goals. This is Gourcuff, and he's found Ribery on the left-hand side, bearing down on the penalty area, dummies a shot, might come back to him a second time, it doesn't, and Uruguay get it up towards the dangerous Suarez, close to the halfway line. And now Maxi Pereira to Forlan. That's a lovely first-time ball out towards the right wing and bundled out of play. Good defensive midfield work by Toulalan, covering in behind Evra, who committed himself further up the field. Uruguay have a throw-in, attacking position down the right for them. Still Uruguay 0, France 0, and we've played over an hour now in Cape Town. And in possession at the moment, Maxi Pereira back to the edge of the penalty area, high cross, which Sanya is underneath for France, but picked up by Arevalo Rios, who then turns and plays it back into his own half to Godin, who's got a little bit of a gap in front of him here that he wants to dribble into. He's gone through the middle of 3 French defenders, and he's now out of position as he loses the ball. But fortunately for him, Sanya has committed a foul, and Uruguay have got a free kick. Well, that was ambitious defending. They've only got 3 at the back, and he set off on a launching run upfield.
Yeah, I just thought he saw an opportunity, hasn't he? We've spoken about it before. They don't commit too many people forward. Saw an opportunity to go and join in. He's created a bit of space. The ball into Suarez. Sanya's just dragged him to the ground. Referee correctly gives a free kick, and again same setup. Diego Forlan to take it. All the 3 big centre halves are in the penalty area, and the last one they almost got it right.
Yeah, well, I applaud that from Godin. I like to see players coming forward, especially in games that are 0-0. Here is the first change. Ignacio Gonzalez, once of Newcastle, just 2 appearances in the Premier League, is going to be replaced by the number 14, Nicolas Lodero, who is a teammate of Luis Suarez at club level. He plays in the Netherlands with Ajax. So Lodero will come on. He's a midfielder in place of Gonzalez. The free kick wide on the left about 10 yards outside the penalty area. And Diego Forlan is standing over it. There are 3 or 4 Uruguay players standing in clear offside positions. And the assistants will have to be very aware of what happens here. Forlan goes for goal, bounces in front of Loris. A difficult one to take for the goalkeeper. He's held it very well.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. Well done, goalkeeper. He sees it late. He's got players bearing down on him, but he did ever so well.
Hugo Loris, who played very well in the playoffs over both legs against the Republic of Ireland. Of course, the headlines were made further up the field, but he made important saves in the playoff to get France here to South Africa. And here comes Evra down the left-hand side. The pass is behind Ribery. It's intercepted, and a chance for Suarez to launch a counter-attack for Uruguay. They've not had a clear cut-it goal really in the second half outside of a free kick, but they have won a set piece now on the far side of the field. There's been a few niggly tackles in this second half now and sort of stunting the flow of play.
Yeah, it's definitely affecting the flow of the game, but it's nothing nasty as of yet. The boys come on for Uruguay is an interesting one, though. The young one playing at Ajax. He's at Ajax. He's sort of on the fringes of the first team, but he's a real player. He's a really good footballer, sort of a proper playmaker type. But this is obviously a big ask for him to come in this game to play against France.
Here he is on the ball at the moment, just outside the penalty area, but a free has been awarded to France. Lodero just playing in behind the front two of Suarez and Forlan, who scored 80 goals between them at club level this season. Forlan's had a few shots. Suarez has not been given the opportunity yet.
But he needs a different type of service to Forlan. Forlan can create, certainly at this level, an awful lot of his own chances, whereas Suarez, I think, relies on his teammates.
So 0-0 here on 5 Live. And possession at the back for France with Abidal up towards Toulalan. And a bit of space now for Evra on the left-hand side. A familiar pattern about this, really, as France try to give it to their captain. And then back in field, and Toulalan takes a gamble. Might fall here for a Nelka on the edge of the penalty area. Stopped by a strong challenge from Alvaro Pereira. And Nelka picks it up again. He's in the penalty area. Right-hand side to the byline. Back now to Toulalan. 2 to aim for the middle. Ribery is one of them. Not the best in the air. And that's a poor header, which will be picked up by the defenders. Lodero, by the way, just after he came on, was booked, we think, for kicking the ball away. So his first touch and almost immediately picks up a yellow card. By the way, at the end of this game, on 5 Live, we'll be hearing from Jeff Hurst before 10 o'clock, a World Cup hero for England in the past, and assessing how the current crop are going to do tomorrow. Here's a cross on the left-hand side for Uruguay by Pereira. The goalkeeper, Loris, drops it, but he's been pushed, has he? Or was it offside?
I think the referee has...
Linesman definitely raised his flag.
Did he really? Yeah.
Alvaro Pereira's cross came in. Loris initially seemed to catch it, but I think Suarez bundles into him.
Yeah, I think that's a foul on the goalkeeper. Again, it was a good little move by Uruguay. Forlan involved again.
The vuvuzelas, I'm sure you can hear in the background, the plastic horns so popular here. We'll all be sick of them by the end of the World Cup. And I was reading the notes and the statistics again in the build-up, and it said that when they were building this stadium, they put special things in the roof to soundproof the roof. And when I read it first, I didn't understand. Why would you want to soundproof? And the neighbour's very sensitive. I now realise.
Yeah, absolutely.
The rest of Cape Town.
There is a reason,
isn't there? To hear that, yeah. We were speaking to someone today who suggested that because of this World Cup now, everyone who goes home will bring home one of these vuvuzelas.
Let's hope not.
And by stealth, they're going to work their way around the world and take over football. Every game we ever go to, vuvuzela will be the sound in the background. Mind you, someone else pointed out that the first person to throw one onto a pitch, and FIFA will just ban them all together. 0-0 here. Suarez tries to turn for Uruguay, 10 yards outside the French penalty area. Ribery has done well in the tackle there. Less well in the distribution as he tries to pass the ball away, but then he gets it back again, and Gourcuff will give it to the left-hand side, and Evra and Nelka lingering outside the penalty area. It's back towards Toulalan, and now Sagna on the right-hand side for France. Bit of movement up ahead of him, but Sagna's given away possession, and a chance of a counter-attack maybe for Uruguay. We're at the midway point in the second half here. There's a foul on Alvaro Pereira. There's going to be a yellow card shown to Toulalan. We'll get a comment on that from Jan Mulby, and then the star of Uruguayan TV, Senor John Murray, will talk you through the full time.
Yeah, I think there's a slight overreaction here from the Uruguay players. They're all at it now. We've got the French coach on the pitch.
Dominic has come onto the field.
You'd never see that.
What on earth is he doing? Well, Lugano, the Uruguayan captain, was pushing Toulalon, who was booked for the foul, which was badly mistimed actually by him on Alvaro Pereira. But Dominic actually walked a few yards onto the field.
Not a few yards. He walked from his technical area. He must have walked 15, 16 yards to get to beyond where the referee is now. Incredible.
And now he's gesticulating to his players.
Calm down, he's saying. Calm down.
And unusually in refereeing circles, the fourth official has not got involved at all.
No, he hasn't, has he? The referee just asked him to go back. I mean, sometimes that would actually mean that you spend the rest of the evening in the stands.
Yeah. And without question in the Premier League, we would have had fourth official frenzy.
Yeah.
with that sort of incident. However, it's not been much of the game, to be honest. It's been a pretty tame affair, and it's 0-0.
It's been a tactical affair, John.
Yeah,
That's
it
what
has.
it's been.
That's right. And now Diaby is picked up for a foul on Perez, who's doing that very annoying thing of waving his hand as if to suggest that Diaby should be booked for that. That hasn't improved Dominic's mood. Here is Lodero, the Uruguayan substitute, 21 years old, but he runs the ball out of play on the right-hand side. And France have a throw-in. And Thierry Henry might be being readied to come onto the field. Thierry Henry, to all intents and purposes, the captain of this French squad, but not on the field. Therefore, Evra has got the armband. But Uruguay with it on the right-hand side. Toulalon in his own left-back area is dispossessed. And now Suarez into the penalty area on the right. Good work. Very good work from Abidal to dispossess Suarez. And it's out for a throw-in to the French. And it will be Thierry Henry who is about to make his entrance at this World Cup.
What will he do to France? Will they change the tactics slightly and go two up top? Or will he still continue with just the one striker? Maybe have either Nelka or Thierry Henry in one of the wide positions.
Yeah, 64,100 is the official attendance, so that's just a couple of thousand under capacity for this World Cup. Here's Ribery on the right. Ribery plays it aerially towards Anelka. It's headed away by Lugano. Then a shove in the back on Perez of Uruguay by Gourcuff, and it's a free kick to Uruguay in front of their own box. So here comes Thierry Henry, so central in that second leg against the Republic of Ireland with the double handball. It was that handball that helped to get them here. And Thierry Henry will come on for Nicolas Anelka.
Yeah, I'm slightly surprised. I thought he might just have gone with two strikers trying to win the game.
Well, if there is disapproval for Henry, it's difficult to tell because of the vuvuzelas which are being blown. But now Henry runs on, and there's a huge cheer from the French supporters.
I think from the whole ground, John, when you look around. And I think that's, the South Africans watch an awful lot of Premier League football, don't they?
That reflects his status as a world star.
Absolutely, I think they were quite excited to see him.
So, all is forgotten, it seems, by many of the people inside the Cape Town stadium here. But Thierry Henry, 51 goals for his country. This is his 122nd cap, is on the field. And it's 0-0 on 5 Live. Uruguay with Perez threatening the French penalty area here. It's on the left now as Alvaro Pereira tries to cross it. It comes off Govu and out of play for a throw-in to Uruguay, 7 or 8 yards away from the corner flag. And Alvaro Pereira is going to wind himself up for a long throw. He's up against the advertising hoardings. Here he comes. The ball into the penalty area. Suarez forward shoots, and he's hit it wide from 12 yards.
I mean, the only excuse you can make, it comes at him very, very quickly. It's a long throw. Suarez back to fall out, and he hits it. He hits it quite well. But he just goes back to where it came from. and he ends up probably 2 or 3 yards wide.
Yeah, he actually backpedaled there, Forlan, so it was a little more than 12 yards. It was about probably 16.
Yeah, and
it
came at him very quick, didn't it, the ball?
Another change.
Suarez
is off. Luis Suarez, after all of his goals, a ton of goals for Ajax this season, is being replaced by Sebastian Abreu, who is a striker, experienced, 33 years old, plays in Brazil for Botafogo, and he is unmistakable. He's huge, and so's his hair.
He's a big man, isn't he?
He is Diaby, another big man in the centre circle, and it's suddenly become harem scarum. And in goes the challenge from Arevalo Rios. Ball runs away. France have got it back. Now it's with Govou, who just took his eye off the ball as it reached him. France with Govou, curls the ball into the penalty area. Ribéry is after it. Ribéry with Maxi Pereira patrolling him, but Ribéry still in possession. Little flick from him, plays it back. Shot comes in from the angle, but it's way wide. Almost goes out for a throw-in. The shot from Gourcuff, and I see that Malouda is being readied as the next substitute to come on for France, and you wonder how long Gourcuff can stay out there after that miserable effort.
Yeah, he hasn't had a great night. But just coming back to the Uruguayan striker who's come on, I mean, he's got a good goal scoring record at this level. He's a real handful, and I think personally he's very disappointed they didn't get a starting place. But he'll certainly fancy his chances.
Yeah, Abreu, 26 goals in 56 previous internationals. Here's the change, as predicted. It is Gourcuff. He didn't have to be a footballing genius to work out that might happen. So Malouda is on after surprisingly not starting this game for France. And very good season that he's had for the double winners. And now here he is involved in France's first game at this World Cup, where the score is Uruguay 0, France 0, and Jan Molby's here in the commentary position in the Cape Town Stadium with us.
Yeah, they just moved things about a little bit, France. Malouda's obviously gone on the right. Ribéry's then gone in and played central just behind Thierry Henry, just to see if they can create something that way.
Thierry Henry, who is playing in his 8th tournament in terms of either World Cups and European Championship finals, which is a tremendous record to look back on. But mind you, he's got a long list of tremendous records to look back on, and the question, wasn't it, back in November at the playoff, as to whether what happened in Paris that night would sully his record. Well, it was quite telling, that cheer that he got when he came onto the field here.
Yeah, I think so. And for a spell, he was as good as there was in the world as a striker. He hasn't quite got the power anymore. Still capable though.
15 minutes left. Still 0-0. Game of relatively few chances. Uruguay 0, France 0. Ribéry on the right hand side this time, pulls it across. Henry with a touch. Govou stabs it forward, and then it's shoveled away out of play for a throw-in on this side of the field.
Yeah, just tried a little pass, didn't he, Thierry Henry? There was a cross from the right. Thought he could just get it to Govou, but again, Uruguay defenders are very, very quick to close down any space.
Throw-in. Sagna to take it. 4 French players inside the Uruguayan box. Throw-in towards the edge of the 6-yard area. It's headed away for Uruguay by Godin, and then cleared further away and out of play for a throw-in to the French inside their own half. Do you think either of the teams deserves to be ahead in the game?
No, I don't. I thought for a spell in the first half that the French were on top, creating slightly the better chances, but the second half has been very even.
So on this quite still, quite cool night here in Cape Town, on the first day of this historic first African World Cup, it's 0-0 in the second match. Thierry Henry's been fouled. Just a heavy challenge really from Godin, the left-sided central defender. Free kick to the French, 15 yards inside. Well, Malouda's cleverly moved it on a little further than that up the right flank. So a chance here for a set piece into the Uruguayan box. Malouda waits to take this, and Gallas has come up from the back. Malouda strikes it left-footed. Goalkeeper comes beyond his 6-yard box, almost to his penalty spot, Muslera, and takes a secure catch.
Yeah, I think he's done well, the goalkeeper. He's punched when he's had to, and he's come and caught a few as well. I think he'll be quite pleased with his evening's work.
So still 0-0. On the evidence of what we've seen so far, Jan, favourites to go through from this group, you would now make?
Really? I still think it's very, very open. As I said before, I think Mexico is better than what they've shown today, but I think they've left a real opportunity, because I think both these two teams will beat South Africa. So I think we're probably looking at the two teams here that might just advance.
Yeah, I think I would tend to agree with you, but it could still be a tight group, particularly if this game does end as a draw.
Well, it's not.
That's what the South Africans would want.
Yeah, and absolutely. It's not unthinkable that when Uruguay and Mexico meet, that they draw, and it's not unthinkable that France are going to draw with Mexico as well. So yeah, it could be really, really tight.
It's Uruguay who play the South Africans next. But that's next Wednesday.
There possibly won't be a lot of goals in this group, will there?
Quite possibly not. Uruguay 0, France 0. Jan Morby with us here at the World Cup on 5 Live. Ball through the middle for Uruguay. The Gallas just heads straight up into the air, and Lodero is after it, but he was beaten in the air by Evra, and it's back with Lloris, the goalkeeper. And Forlan, who will rue that chance that he had, 16 yards. Mind you, so will Govu. The first chance of the game was a really good one, the best chance. Here's Sagna. Now up towards Ribéry, who is bounced away by Lugano and goes to ground and looks at the Japanese referee, but nothing given, and it's out for a throw-in to the French.
I think he just stood his ground, did he, the defender?
Ribéry, who's now taken up a position on the right, still there, receives the ball from the throw-in. Ribéry, left-footed and infield towards Diaby, who allows it to run to Malouda, and Malouda now shoots from 25 yards, flashes it across the face of goal, but I think Muslera, the goalkeeper, knew it was heading wide.
Yeah, and I think it was a good job, because I'm not sure the goalkeeper would have got anywhere near that, or maybe he might have, but he's hit it well enough. A lot of shots tonight, the players have sliced at them and haven't quite hit them. He hit that one true enough.
But overall, it's been a little bit of a disappointment, I think, for us and for all of these people, 60-odd thousand of them in this stadium. And if you weren't listening earlier, I mean, we really have had all nations here in Cape Town this week. I get the feeling that many of the supporters have headed to Cape Town to begin their World Cup experience, and will probably be heading off elsewhere, including many of them from back home. And the only ones I haven't spotted so far in terms of spectators are North Koreans. I haven't seen any of them
yet.
We
haven't seen too many of those as of yet.
No, we haven't.
No.
But Conor and I'm
not convinced there will be too many.
No, well, I'm not either. But we'll find out next week when they play the Brazilians. I think that's an intriguing first match for them, the North Koreans. And we are, of course, on 5 Live at every game in every stadium during the course of the next few weeks here in South Africa. 10 minutes to play. Uruguay 0, France 0. Just beginning to think, Jan, that Uruguay are maybe just sort of moving back and France are moving forward. Oh, and Lodera has caught Sagna here, and Lodero has received a second yellow card, and the young man, Nicolas Lodero, 21 years old, on his debut at a World Cup, has been sent off for a second bookable offence. He caught Sagna, and he's absolutely distraught, the young man. I think he's in tears there. He's walked off the field with his head in his hands, and his head bowed now as he disappears out of our sight and down the tunnel.
Well, the problem you got, John, the first booking he gets for kicking the ball away, that's silly. Once you get a booking for that, you do not make a challenge like he's just done, and he can have absolutely no complaints whatsoever. That is a fully deserved second booking. Red card had to go.
Uruguay down to 10 men for the last 9 minutes of this game, and there's a real little piece of naivety from the young man who was sent off who was booked initially for kicking the ball away just after he'd come onto the field, and then one more bad challenge and he's off. And Uruguay, this reputation that they have, will just never leave them, I think.
18 minutes
on the field. 18 minutes on the field. And remember the famous one at the World Cup you played at, Jan? We were talking about it this afternoon, weren't we? When Uruguay had a man sent off after 55 seconds against Scotland.
Yeah.
They had more players sent off than any other country in the World Cup qualifiers for this tournament. And now the first red card of World Cup 2010 is a Uruguayan. And France now against 10 men. Sagna's okay, but he's not back on the field yet. Malouda now on the right-hand side. Malouda turns, plays it back to Govu. Now in towards Tulana. High ball, swirls into the penalty area. Only half cleared away by Victorino, and then further away and out of play on the halfway line, and Sagna is now coming back onto the field.
So they've now got 8 minutes to win a game that they don't deserve to win, the French. Let's hope they take a few chances. Take the safety belt off.
Yeah.
Let's give it a go.
So 0-0, Uruguay 0, France 0, in a game that's been a disappointment, but quite a spectacle with the tremendous colour and noise. And I have to say, personally, I don't think the vuvuzelas have been quite as bad as I thought. Ball in now, header from Henry, but the offside flag was up against Thierry Henry near the penalty spot. Ball in from Sagna on the right, twisting header from Henry, but flag was up.
He didn't know that though, did he, Thierry Henry? As he connected with that ball, he didn't know the flag was up. It's a harsh decision, I have to say.
Was he on?
Yeah, he was definitely in line.
However, it didn't go in the net. And I'm sure there are quite a few people listening and watching around the world who, if that had ended up in the back of the net and had been ruled out for offside against Thierry Henry, would have thought, well, you've got just exactly what you deserve for that.
Absolutely.
0-0, and we've got 6 minutes to go. France are going to make another change, I see. And Gignac will come onto the field, presumably, you would think, for Govou. Here's Ribéry on the left-hand side for France. Takes on the defender, beats him. Ribéry's ball low across just isn't good enough. Straight out for a throw-in.
Yeah, not quite his evening either. Decision-making hasn't been great. He put a great cross in after 6 minutes, but apart from that, he hasn't done an awful lot. He could take a number of players off. He could also take one of the holding midfield players off. Toulon or Diaby. Be interesting to see what he does.
Well, here he comes now. André Pierre Gignac, who plays for Toulouse. And it is indeed Govou who is withdrawn. So that's the final change that Dominic can make. Govou off. And Gignac, who I'm told, whose mother won €100,000 on the French version of Deal or No Deal.
Really?
Last year. Fancy that. Programme I never see, Jan, because I'm always
You're too
working.
busy.
I am. I'm too busy to watch that programme, but I'm told it's very, very good. Here's Abidal to the left-hand side to Evra. 0-0. Uruguay down to 10 men. France seeing if they can force a win in the closing minutes of this match. Here's Sagna, now on the right-hand side. Sagna is just balked there, but stands up well against the challenge. His club manager Arsene Wenger watching 4 rows behind us here. Ribéry now can't find a way past that squat little figure of Aravalo Rios, who's the only Uruguayan-based outfield player in this Uruguayan squad, and he's done really well tonight. Throw-in taken by France. Gallas now to Abidal, to the left-hand side it goes. Evra crosses the halfway line, and Malouda gives it back to Evra, who shuffles a little further forward. Now down the left, Ribéry's out on the it's Gignac on the left-hand side. Gignac moves infield, hits the shot that's blocked on the edge of the area. It's a cross, actually, blocked on the edge of the box. One Uruguayan player has gone tumbling down, but he's okay, back on his feet. France still in possession. Diaby, Ribéry, back to Diaby again, and then Malouda works it to Diaby, but the Uruguayans are working very, very hard while not in possession of the ball. Still the French, all in white, playing from left to right. Sagna, then again Sagna on the right, gets it from Henry. Toulon, infield towards Ribéry, on his left foot. Challenge comes in on him from Perez, good challenge as well. And the Uruguayans have the ball, but not for long. Here's Abidal. Now to Ribéry again, 30 yards out, slips the ball through. Oh, it was just intercepted, otherwise it would have been through to Malouda inside the box. Still they come though, and it is with Evra inside the box, but he wasn't able to work a shooting opportunity, and little Aravalo Rios came across and popped it out of play into the lower tier.
They're definitely having to go though, Andy, France, and so they should. Got a man extra.
And Sebastien Eguren is going to be the third and final substitution that the maestro Tabarez can make in this game. His number 8 is being held up, and it is Diego Perez, who, like Aravalo Rios, has worked very hard during the course of this game in the Uruguayan engine room, as they call it.
Yeah, they have. I mean, the plan was obviously for them two to take care of Gorku, who was meant to be the playmaker in the French midfield. I think they'd go pretty easy with him.
Not sure if we're going to see a goal though in our first game at this World Cup.
I think you might just be right, John.
Yep, 2.5 minutes of the 90 to go plus stoppage time. Be a couple of those, no doubt. Throw-in taken for France. Uruguay having to defend here, but inside his own box, Arevalo Rios takes possession and wallops it away downfield. Egidio Arevalo is how he's listed by FIFA, but he is known as Arevalo Rios, which is the name on the back of his shirt. 2 minutes to go, still 0-0 on 5 Live. Tomorrow, 3 matches, the first day of 3 matches, from 12:30, South Korea against Greece, then at 3 o'clock UK time. Absolutely fascinating to see how Argentina do against Nigeria. David Moyes, the Everton manager, will be part of our commentary team at that one. And then after that, all the build-up and the match, England against USA from Rustenburg from 7:30. But still 0-0 here. And here's Gignac on the right. Can't get the crossover. It's blocked. Sanya now takes it up. Sanya works across in position. It's punched away by the goalkeeper. Henry's in there. It hits a defender. Henry claims handball. And everyone on the French bench does as well. But the officials say no. And it's no penalty for France, with Thierry Henry claiming it struck a Uruguayan arm. Irony of ironies. Here's Diaby now, 25 yards out. We'll let you know when we see a replay what we think. Here's Diaby in the box again on the right. Challenge comes across and slides it out of play for a corner. Handball or not, Jan Moby?
Well, it wouldn't surprise me if it bounces and hits a defender's hand, which it actually does. We've just seen the replay. But it's not a penalty. It can't be.
It bounced up and it struck Victorino on the arm, but no penalty, so still 0-0. Malouda now, the corner's been taken short. Malouda angles the ball into the box, and it's hit the defender, and he should have done better really. Maxi Pereira allowed it to hit him, and it dribbled out for another corner, and France putting real pressure on the Uruguayans here, the 10 men of Uruguay. Malouda waits to take this corner, but the referee spotted some pushing inside the box and is going to have none of that, and lays the law down to all and sundry. So Malouda's waiting. Malouda just wipes away a little perspiration, and still all sorts of twisting and turning and pushing and pulling inside the box. The referee blows his whistle. Malouda with the corner into the near post, and it's cleared away by Abreu. And 3 minutes of added time we'll have,
Yeah, another 3 minutes for France to try and win the game. But just going back to that penalty incident, I mean, everybody on the bench was up in it, but what can a defender do? He was ball to hand, wasn't he? He had nowhere to go. It's an awkward bounce. But it was a good little spell again by the French. 2 good crosses from the right.
Sagna takes a throw back to Toulalon. Uruguay penned back in their defensive third. Sagna now plays on it with his left foot. Cross is blocked. Comes out to Abidal. Abidal thinks about a shot, but dinks it forward to the edge of the area where it's headed away. And Forlan, who I think I've hardly mentioned his name in the second half.
Yeah, he's
Diego
hardly
Forlan.
been involved. Yeah, it's been very difficult for him.
And he loses possession. And France have it back. And Henry on the left-hand side to Ribéry. Then a little touch. Finds Diaby. Diaby now to Gignac. Gignac, corner of the box. Into the penalty area. Up against the defender. Gignac tries to pull it over, but it's blocked by the defender. And cleared away for Uruguay. And our colleagues from Uruguay here, even though they're commentating, couldn't help but applaud that piece of defence.
Well, he was, and he had to, otherwise there was going to be another cross into the penalty box. But they've shown that they can certainly defend Uruguay.
They have to hang on though still, throwing into the Uruguayan box, headed away and then cleared further away by Maxi Pereira. Actually just played it back to a teammate who walloped it away downfield. But the French, I'm sure, will make their claims that a penalty should have been given. Here's Gignac now. Gignac trying to work some space, lifts a high ball out towards the left-hand side to Thierry Henry, who really in the end could only just keep it in play. Malouda centres it though for Diaby, who's inside the box. Diaby though wanted too many touches. He's still going. He's got 4 Uruguayans around him. Oh, and they've got a free kick, the French.
Cheap one.
Very cheap for what was deemed to be a foul on Diaby.
I mean, he was overdoing it, wasn't it, Diaby? He had defenders around him. Defender goes to ground, referees more often than not is going to give a free kick in situations like that. And what are we looking at? 21 yards at a slight angle from the left. Ribéry will be there. Thierry Henry might fancy it.
Well, Henry and Ribéry are in discussion together. Evra is just coming over to have a little word Really dangerous situation this, and the clock shows over 2.5 minutes of added time already played of the 3. There won't be too much action left in this match.
And a booking.
And a yellow card for...
Unsure, but I think it's the captain, yes.
Lugano, for not retreating. So important these moments. Uruguayan TV to our right can hardly watch. Henry places it. Well, surely it has to be Henry.
Yeah, absolutely, but this is unnecessary, isn't it? This is lack of discipline.
Well, the referee is now marching out the 10 yards, which you would have thought he would have done by now. And the Uruguayan wall.
That is a long look in 10 yards, John.
It is a long 10 yards. They've moved them back about 4 yards. And incredibly, they did exactly as he said.
Yeah.
I thought we'd... Anyway, free kick to the French. 3 minutes of stoppage time and beyond are already played here in Cape Town. Thierry Henry with a free kick hits the wall and bounces right across the box. Still we play on. Diaby just shepherds it out of
What
play.
did he want, Thierry Henry? Did he want another handball?
I think he felt that should have been a French throw-in.
Oh, yeah. It was definitely not a handball, was it?
And it is a Uruguayan throw. And I think the action is about to
There
end.
we go.
Here in Cape Town it is. The final whistle goes and it's finished. Uruguay 0, France 0, with Uruguay ending with 10 men. But the match overall, a disappointment.
Yes, it was a tactical affair. I think both teams might just view this as an okay result. I think Uruguay will be more pleased than France. But I think the disappointing bit from France has to be the fact that they have better players. With this group of players, they should be doing better. They should be creating more chances. It should be more free-flowing. They've still got an awful lot of work to do. And this group, I think, is going to go right to the end.
Well, we've had everything in Cape Town this week. The setting's been magnificent. The atmosphere's been wonderful. It's been a really memorable week. And it started here in terms of the football with a 0-0 draw. Still, that's the way it goes.